And to discuss whether the world as we know it has changed, the world as we know it has gone, says the Prime Minister, is Professor Gwythian Prins, Emeritus Research Professor at the London School of Economics, former advisor to the Ministry of Defence, NATO and the United Nations. Professor, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Is the Prime Minister overstating the case? Is he over-dramatising what are certain measures by one president who won't be there forever? Or is he right when he says everything is basically back to the drawing board?
Well, Vanessa, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And for a lovely sunny afternoon, may I start by complimenting you on your wonderful ice cream introduction. But yours was not a cornetto, it was a tutti frutti. You gave us a whole series of flavours, and which is a rather long-winded way of saying that I think you left out the answer. The answer is that we are not in a new world, we're in a new old world.
What does that mean, though, Professor?
What that means is that whilst it's very strange for people like Mr. Starmer or Mr. Hermer or all those international lawyers who grew up used to the post-World War, Second World War order of so-called globalization, which was framed around a concept called international law, which actually doesn't really exist. We are now back again in a familiar old world that is driven by the law of nations, which is quite different from international law, of course. And in that context, it means that nation states have to do, yes, exactly what the Prime Minister said in his article. We need, you quoted it, cool heads, pragmatism, clear sense of our national interest. And in this regard, if I can make just a second point about your colleague Natasha, with whom I would respectfully disagree, I think her answer was a bit overexcited, because what Mr. Trump is doing is no different from what we did when we were the top imperial power in the 1930s. We protected our imperial interests with something which was known as imperial preference. Imperial preference is when you use your power in the international system to protect your interests. And the response that we should be pursuing now is perfectly logical, and it's pragmatic, and it is to return to a form of Commonwealth preference. We traduced our natural allies in the Antipodes, Australia, New Zealand, natural trading partners, when we went on our temporary excursion dancing the quadrille with our friends on the European continent, from which we've now returned. And so we should, as we are doing with the AUKUS deal, now return to them in just the terms that the Prime Minister described, not just with defence, but now also with trade as well. But I'll say a bit more about the contradictions in the article in a moment, but let me stop there.
All right. And what about the defence element of all of this? Because tariffs we have discussed endlessly, and you know we have debated the impact and whether how harshly we should retaliate, and whether if we do we simply aggravate and irritate an already volatile situation, etc., etc. But what about our position on the world stage in terms of defence and our own national security now?
Well, our position, by virtue of our own, in my view, criminal failure to maintain the defences that a country of this stature and importance in the international order should have, our position is very fragile. It isn't true, although they like to big it up, that we have done anything particularly grand on that front. But at the level that matters to listeners, if I can offer a small word of reassurance, actually, and I'm fairly confident of this from all the contacts with whom I've worked for 30 and 40 years, nothing has changed in the fundamentals of the special relationship of the Anglosphere. It won't, for a very practical reason, going back to my first answer, because it is very much in the interest of the United States that we, who are an intelligence superpower, along with them, that we continue to be part of that alliance. But Vanessa, if I may, if I can go back to your tutti frutti for a moment. I'm sorry, I was just taken away with your introduction. Where the contradiction lies in this article is having, I think, pretty correctly prescribed the frame of mind that people should adopt. I don't think any sensible person would disagree with that. The solution, the idea that this government is pursuing a set of policies which are going to lead to growth, I mean, for goodness sakes, let them please go back to university or perhaps even just to sixth form and learn what the Laffer curve is. Could we please get rid of Storm Rachel's destructive autumn budget, cancel these vindictive class war taxes like the VAT on private schools, but most importantly, the fiscally illiterate taxes, such as increasing national insurance, which is essentially a tax on ordinary workers. So it's a budget which completely illogically hammers the struggling middle and drives away the rich investors who we actually need. So turbocharging, well, we're not turbocharging. We aren't even able to turn on the ignition, not with this policy.
Professor, thank you so much. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed your contribution as well. Most enjoyable. Thank you very much.